STLC. Before we begin STLC, let's be there with a few like execution. Execution is nothing but we develop a few test cases. Like as I said, testing is nothing but comparing expected result with actual result, right? So we need to compare the expected result with the actual result, and if they both match, then it means the functionality is working fine. If it doesn't match, then it means that the functionality is behaving improperly or the functionality is not working properly. So that is a defect. So in order to follow these or in order to work for a single functionality, we write a test case. Okay, we write a test case where we mention all our expected results and all our navigation steps. Okay, and we just write only these two values. We don't write the actual value column. I will show what is a test case, why do we write a test case, all those things in a much detailed way. Don't worry about that. But the thing is, there is something called test case. So we write test cases, and with the help of test cases, we test the functionalities. So when we do the testing, like in order to write the test cases, we will be given some time to write the test cases or to develop the test cases, and we will be given some more time to run these test cases. Running these test cases means capturing the actual result. That is nothing but execution. So when I talk about execution, it is nothing but extracting the actual results from the real-time application and comparing them with the expected result. That will be done in the execution phase. So going forward, when I am referring to phases, we should immediately get an idea what we are talking about, right? So let's start each phase in STLC. The first one is requirement analysis. So as we have seen requirement analysis in the planning phase of SDLC, it is similar to the SDLC planning phase only. So here we get the requirements from the client. We get what requirements have to be tested and what is the expected result for each functionality. All those things will be given in the requirement, and we will be analyzing those requirements, and we will be uh, figuring out what all requirements can be tested by our team and what all requirements cannot be tested by our team. Let's say if they are asking us to test something like verify whether the application um, is working properly when 10,000 users have simultaneously logged in. In simple words, there is a one requirement which is saying that you need to test the application is working fine when there are 10,000 users logged in at a particular time. But we cannot recreate that scenario. We cannot ask 10,000 people to log in into the application at once. So that is something related to performance testing. It is not related to the normal testing. It is related to performance testing. So we will say that this requirement cannot be tested by us. Please keep this requirement with you. You can have it tested by some other team. So we will analyze in that way. We will sort out the requirement that we are going to test, and we will finalize the requirement set. Okay, requirement set is nothing but the set of requirements. Okay, so that will be done in requirement analysis, and then we will be planning the test, like how we need to do the testing. Like, can we do uh, any one of the functionality at the beginning, and after that, can we take up any other functionality? Which functionality has to be tested first? Like, which functionality has the highest dependency, or which functionality is the most important functionality in that application? We will decide that in the test planning phase. So when we decide the priority of the functionalities, then we will understand what functionality has to be tested at which time. So in simple terms, I will give you an example. Let's say we have an application that has to be tested. So the first thing we will verify is login functionality, because if login functionality itself is not working, then is there any sense to test the entire application, right? It doesn't make sense, because the login functionality should work before we get into the application. Without login functionality, it's like we are not having a head itself. Login page is the head or the start point of an application. If you are not having a start point only, then it doesn't make any sense in testing the rest over application, in testing the rest over body. So login is my most priority functionality. So I will test login functionality, and I will keep on testing it because it is the most crucial functionality and the most needed functionality in that application. So in this way, we'll start figuring out what all functionalities or what all requirements have to be tested at the beginning, at the end. Like we will design a timeline, okay? And then we will do the test analysis, okay? Test analysis is nothing but like let's say login functionality again, okay? So we have a requirement. Let's say, yeah, we'll take a simple requirement. The the requirement says verify the login functionality, okay? And they are saying something like if user enters the right password and the right username, he should be able to navigate to the home page. This is the requirement. Verify login functionality. If user enters right password and right username, he should be navigated to the home page. This is a requirement. So I got the requirement. I have planned the requirement to test it in the beginning of the testing itself. So I have analyzed which requirement is important to me. So this requirement is very important and very crucial to the application. So I have placed it on the top. And now when I want to test it, how do I test that requirement? Like I will enter the right password, I will enter the right username. If I click on login button, I should be in the home page. That is one case. And after that, in case if I enter the wrong password and in case if I enter the wrong username, after entering both wrong details, if I enter into the application, is that a defect or not? Now everyone has to speak because this should not be a one-way communication. It should be a two-side communication because I will be asking frequent questions and I want answers. Then only we can proceed with the next topics. Because without understanding the terminology, we can't move further, right? So my question is, let's say I'm entering the correct password and correct username. I have been logged into the application successfully. Now I have entered both the negative values. Now what is the expected result? Like should I get into the application or should I be seeing error message saying that the credentials are wrong? Come on, please respond.
It will be defect, sir.
It is a defect, right? So do you think, does everyone think that testing with wrong values is also needed? Like, does it make sense if we test with wrong values? Is it needed
Yes,
or it
sir.
is a total waste of time?
No, sir. It is needed.
It is needed. Yes,
Yes, sir.
correct. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Yeah. So even testing a functionality with negative values is also needed. So we will decide which approach we will apply for every functionality. Like in login functionality, I know that I need to test that functionality with some negative values also. So that is my test analysis. Like what all things or what all data I need to test that application or test that functionality, that will be analyzed in the test analysis phase. And apart from that, we will be doing something like what should be the right way. And let's say uh, if we have uh, let's say I have entered the username first and I have clicked on login, and after that I have entered the username and password both and clicked on login. So these are like testing different testing in different angles for the same application, right? Just a minute, sorry. Yeah. So the approaches that we need to follow or the strategies that we need to follow in order to test a functionality, all those will be done in the test analysis phase. Okay, then what is test design? As I said, test design is nothing but writing the test cases. Like once we have analyzed what data we need, what requirements we are testing, then we will start writing the test cases. So test design is also called as test preparation phase. It can be also called as test preparation phase also. Test design is also called as preparation phase. So once we are in the test design phase, we will write the test cases, and after the test cases are done, like after we have written all the test cases for all the functionalities, we will then start constructing them. Like we will start seeing whether all the test cases are written properly or not, whether all the navigation or the sequence of steps is written correctly or not, and then we will do something called dry runs. Like dry runs are nothing but the rehearsals. Like if we let's say if we are planning for a show, the actual show which is going to be live, it will be at a different time, but before going or performing on live, we rehearse it, right? We do the rehearsals, we do the uh, pre-planned sessions before itself. So once we write the test cases, we do the dry runs. Dry runs are nothing but a random test, rough work, okay, sample work or rehearsals of the test. Okay, then after that we will go into the test execution. So in test execution, in this phase, we actually test that application formally. Like we will follow the test script very strictly, and we will see or compare every steps expected result with the actual result, and then we will conclude whether our particular test step has been passed or not. And once the entire test case is passed, like let's say if all the test steps are passed, then we will say that the entire test case is passed and the requirement is fulfilled. So in simple terms, from requirements, we will write test cases, and test cases will have test steps in it. So each test step will have an expected result and an actual result. So every test step should match, like the expected result and the actual result of every step should match. And if all the steps are getting passed successfully, then the test case is said to be passed, and then we'll say that the requirement is successful, like the requirement is working fine, right? So that we do in the test execution and in the final testing. So we have tested all the functionalities, right? We have checked, we have tried different data, we have tested with different strategies, we have followed multiple approaches, and we have done the testing. But after that, we have something called final testing. This is nothing but, let's say we have tested the application as per the user requirements. Like we have tested the application as a user, not as a robot, but as a user. We have tested it as a user. Okay, then let's say there will be some requirements which are related to server or which are related to let's say mm, traffic thing, or which are related to the stress. Let's say our application is being used by 1,000 users at a time. Then we need to know how our application is behaving, like whether it is withstanding the load or whether it is saying that whether the application is getting very slow. We will have to test the performance of that application when the load is high. So all those things come under performance testing, that is called non-functional testing. So once we test every functionality, we will do some non-functional testing also, like these are not the functionalities of the application, but these are the configurations, or these are the uh, features, or these are the technical requirements or specifications that an application can provide to the users. Okay, so let's say I have developed the application. Now I need to check whether it is working in Google Chrome, if it is working in Internet Explorer, if it is working in Edge, in all the browsers. I want to test that the application is working fine in all the browsers. So this is also something kind of non-functional testing, because we are not testing a functionality of the application, but we are testing whether the application is compatible with different browsers. So this is called compatibility testing, right? So in this case, we have some more testings after all the features are tested. We will do some sort of server testing, load testing, performance testing, and compatibility testing. All these things happen in the final testing. And then once all the approvals are done, like all the phases of testing are completed, then we will send the application to the deployment, right? That is nothing but the post implementation. So we will discuss this every stage in deep, okay, in the coming slides. As you can see, our first phase, requirement analysis, where we analyze the customer requirement, decide what are the testing types and techniques. So QA will decide, there will be a person called QA who will be telling us whether this requirement is ready to test or not. Like, let's say there's a functionality called mm, friend request. Okay, so we have the requirement to test the send request feature, but the QA is saying that it is not yet implemented, please wait for some more time. So that information will be provided by the QA in the requirement analysis phase, right? So we will start the testing from requirement phase. There will be, who will be involved in this phase? Test lead and tester both will be involved in this phase, right? So once the requirement analysis is completed, like once we have gathered the requirements, once we have taken the approval and information from QA, we will start testing it, right? And then the test planning will begin. So who will be doing the test planning? The test lead will be doing the test planning and the members will be involved in that meeting. Okay, they will not say their ideas, they will just say their ideas or they will just portray their objections, but they will not do the planning by themselves. The test lead will start the planning. He will say that we need to do the testing from this month to that month or this date to that date, and all the members will be telling their opinions. Okay, so the test lead will be telling us what to test and what is the scope of testing. Like if there are 100 requirements and we are not testing all the 100, if we are testing only the 50 requirements, then those 50 requirements are the requirements which are in our scope. Like only 50 requirements are in our scope. The remaining 50 are not in our scope, so we will not test it. Okay. Even though they are in our requirement document, we will not test it because they are not in the scope. And who is deciding the scope? Test lead is deciding the scope based on the communication with QA, right? Maybe after some time we will be testing those remaining 50, or we will be doing the testing by a different approach, or we will be doing that 50 requirements will be tested by a separate team or not, that we don't know. But our only scope is 50 out of 100, right? So that we will be testing. And hardware, software, database availability, we will see whether we have all the requirements. Like let's say our computer is having sufficient RAM or sufficient storage, and it is having a good performance. All those things will be taken into consideration, and then we will start preparing the strategy. So we will prepare the QA team, like how many members are required, like if do we need any database resources, or do we need any SAP testers, or do we need any IT engineers, or do we need any server engineers. So we will discuss them and we will form a team. Okay, and we will learn about the application. So localization and upgrade is nothing but knowing about the application, right? And then we will start planning the time frame, and we will decide a time frame, like it should start from 1st of January and it should end on 30th of January. So it will be decided in that phase, in the test planning phase itself. And we will be analyzing, or we will be just understanding or figuring out what risks will be involved in testing this application. And we will be doing a review for the entire planning phase. We will be doing a review, like whether the time frame is suitable or whether the QA team is good or not. All these things will be reviewed, and the test lead will be reviewing all these things. Okay. And version matrix documentation. Version matrix documentation, it's something like, let's say if we are testing version 3. Okay, so in version 3 we will be having new requirements, and we will be having some requirements which are a part of version 1 and version 2, right? So let's say in version 3 we had only 5 requirements. Okay, but in version 2 and in version 3 we were having 40 each. In version 1 we are having 40, in version 2 we are having 40. Now we are in version 3. Now we want to do the testing. So how will we test? Like we will test only the 5 requirements from version 3, or will we test the entire 85 requirements? Any answer from the audience? Like, will we test only the requirements from version 3, which are 5, or will we test version 3 and version 2, or will we test all the requirements which are from all the 3 versions? Like the total count of requirements will be 85 if we test all the versions. So what is the right requirements to be tested? Like, will we test all the 85 or will we test only 5? Come on. Open up. We're running out of time, guys. Come on, make it quicker. Okay. So in the test planning itself, we will decide whether automation is applicable for this application or not. Like whether we will be understanding, let's say if there are 20 requirements and we know we want to include automation also, then we will segregate some requirements which are very suitable for automation. Like we will keep some complex requirements or some uh, tedious requirements apart to automation, right? That will also be done in the test planning phase itself. And then we have something called test analysis, as I have told, whether how we need to test it, like what is the approach to test a particular requirement, and whether we are doing functional testing. Are we doing the testing of a functionality, or are we doing the testing of the servers or the load or something like that? So we need to decide it. So test analysis just includes automation tools, performance testing, functional testing, and how we are going to do it. Like, are we going to do the positive testing or negative testing? Are we going to do the testing only with negative values? Are we going to do the testing with both positive values and negative values? All those things will be analyzed in the test analysis phase, right? So in the test design phase, as I said, this is also called the test preparation phase. So in this phase, testers write the test cases, and at the same time automation team will develop the test scripts. Like they will automate the application, and the review of test cases will also be done. Like review will be certain levels. Like if you write a test case, your fellow team member can review it, or your test lead can review it, or the team from the client can review it. Anyone can review your test cases. Okay. So that will happen in test design section, like the preparation phase. Okay. And then we have test construction and verification. Like as I have said, in this we will do the end-to-end testing. Okay. And we will do something called positive and negative testing, as I have said, like whether we are going to do the testing only for positive values or for the negative values. So we will do the system testing is nothing but testing the entire application. Okay. We treat the entire application as a system, and we do the system testing also. So why we are doing it in the construction and verification phase? Because till here we didn't had any test cases. So once we have test cases, like once we have the navigation and the rules or guidance to test the application, then only we can start the verification phase. That's the reason we are having test construction and verification after the test design, right? And after that we have something called test execution. So in this test execution, we will start finding the bugs. Okay, we will find how many bugs are detected feature wise, module wise, and project wise. So we can do build by build testing also. As I said, sometimes we follow iterative method. The developers follow the iterative method. If the developers are following iterative and incremental method, we will also do the testing according to a build. So build by build testing will be done. So as I have said, critical features like login was a critical feature. We will test the login functionality first. After the critical functionalities are fixed, then we can go to medium functionalities. We can go to low priority functionalities after we test the critical functionalities, right? So final testing, again end-to-end testing. I have said, like in the final testing, we will do some stress testing. We will check the performance of the application. We will see how the product is going to perform in live. Like if there are 1,000 users, how is it behaving? If there are 10,000 users at a time, how the application is behaving. All those things will be done in the final testing. And post implementation, it's nothing but a documentation phase, where we just document all the requirements, where we just document the lessons learned, where we just keep everything in a written format, so that anyone who will join the team in the next release or in the next version, he can understand what has done in the previous testing. So we'll do what testing we have done. We will document everything, and we will document what things we have learned while testing this application, and how did we feel how do we rate or how do we evaluate this application, like is it user friendly or is it not user friendly, all those things we will document them, and then we will close the entire testing cycle, right? And then the application can be deployed into the market and it can be used by the users. Okay, so that's how we conclude the SDLC phase. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Okay, yeah, let's do this one slide and we can conclude today's session. Yeah, so this is nothing but testing terminology. As I have told you, test case, test scenario, test suite, these are tester terminologies. These are the most frequently used words or phrases by a tester, right? Without these, you cannot define a tester's daily life. These will be a part of a tester's daily life every day, every hour. These will be asked by him every hour, and he will be using these phrases again and again. This is the life of a tester. Okay, so let's see what is a test case. Okay, the terminology. Why? What do we call as a test case? What is a test case? Why is it called a test case? So it is a step-by-step detailing, like right, about the requirement with input, expected result, and precondition. So as I have said, in the test case, we'll be having input. Input is nothing but what value we want to enter into the application. Okay, and expected result, like what result we are expected when we input something. Let's say if I click on login button, what is my expected result? I should see the home page. That is my expected result. Okay, and we don't include the column called actual result because actual result will be given at the time of execution, at the time of test execution, not in the test case. It will not be anywhere in the test case. It will be filled when the execution phase takes place. Okay, and we will be having something called precondition also in our test case. So what is a precondition? So let's say if we are working on if we are trying to test an application Amazon, so first of all we need to have an Amazon ID, right? So that is our precondition or prerequisite. Without having an Amazon ID or without having a Amazon account, we will not be able to test that application at all. So that is the first prerequisite. We need to have access to Amazon app. That is the first precondition. So like this we can have many preconditions or many prerequisites. So all those things will be kept in the test case, right? It will tell you how to test your software. Yes, test case should be of few lines or maybe a few pages. Yeah, and note it here, like test case is nothing but an Excel sheet in which we write the steps in a readable format which can be understood by the tester, and he can do the testing with some minimal knowledge from the with some minimal knowledge in the application. Okay, so it is just an Excel sheet. Don't worry, don't take it in a complicated manner. Test case is just as Excel sheet, and we will learn how to write a test case, what all columns will be available in test case. We will write a sample test case also. Don't worry about that. And test case writing can be started as early as we have functional specification. So once you get the functionality, you should start writing your test cases, right? Even though they might be changed in future, but it is better to start the test case preparation or test case design from the beginning itself. Okay. So why do we need it? Why do we need test cases? We need test cases to track quality of software. Yeah. High priority defects. So what are high priority defects? So if you are getting any defect which has to be fixed immediately, like soon, like if we got the defect now, it should be fixed by tomorrow. That is a very high priority. That is called a very high priority defect. So that defects are called the defects which cannot be left unresolved, or the defects which have to be fixed very immediately in order to fix the business. They are called high priority defects. And we can track high priority defects when we write the test cases properly, and when we have the test cases in our hand, we know what exactly we are expecting, and we can exactly test whatever the QA has given us the requirements for. Like whatever requirements are available with us, if we write test case for those requirements, any member from the team can do the testing. Like they can understand what is expected and they can do the testing for that particular application. Okay, so test scenario is nothing but let's say uh, I will explain what is a scenario first. Okay. After explaining what is a scenario, then I will explain what is a test scenario. Okay. So I think everyone visit the shopping website, right? So when we do the shopping, online shopping, we just log in into one application. Let's say I'm using Myntra. Okay. I will open Myntra app, or I will open Myntra application URL. After opening the URL, I will enter the login password. Okay. I will go to one section called footwear. In footwear, I will select two, three models, and I will keep them in my wish list. And after that, I will move one out of those items from the wish list to my shopping cart. Okay. And from the shopping cart, I will enter my card details, I will enter my address, I will click on checkout. And once my product is purchased, I'll go to the order section. I will see whether the order is successful or not. Then I will log out and I will close the application. This is a scenario. This is a scenario for purchasing the shoes. This entire flow or this entire process is called a scenario. So in many applications, we will be having the scenarios. So we need to test that entire scenario, this end-to-end flow from login to logout. This end-to-end flow is called as a scenario. And in real-time applications, we refer something called test scenario, which is nothing but testing an end-to-end flow. Okay. So now read these three lines. End-to-end functioning of software is working fine. So what have we done in Myntra? If you observe carefully, here we are testing the login functionality. Here we are testing the wishlist functionality. We are testing shopping cart functionality. We are testing address. We are checking whether the order is getting successfully placed or not. We are checking the logout functionality. So many functionalities are involved, and we are testing them in a collective manner. Like in the end-to-end scenario, in a test scenario, we are verifying everything in simple terms. So that is one test scenario, and we will be exploring the software from end user point. So when I told you the previous example of purchasing the shoes, we were thinking in the end user perspective. So Myntra app is for the customers who want to buy or purchase products online. So when we did that entire scenario, we did it in a user perspective. We didn't do it in a tester perspective, but we did it in a user perspective, right? And consult with stakeholders development team. Yeah. So in order to know the entire scenario, like in this case Myntra, it is a most commonly used feature, so everyone knows how to use it. But in my case, let's say if I don't know how the application works, then I need to communicate with the developers team. I will ask the developers how I need to navigate here, how I can place an order, how I can add my credit card number, how I can add my address. All these things I will ask the developer and know how to communicate or how to navigate in that application, right? Then I will create a test scenario. After the test scenario is developed, I will go test this particular scenario and see the results, whether the end-to-end scenario is successful or not. So in simple terms, if we talk about a test case is nothing but testing an individual functionality. Let's say if we are needed to test only login functionality, or if we want to test only the register functionality, then we write a test case for it. But if we want to test the end-to-end scenario that has been done or that will be followed by an end user, then we will write a test scenario. So this is the difference between a test case and a test scenario. Okay. And test suite. What is a test suite? Test suite is nothing but group of test cases. Like if we say if we have 50 requirements, we will write around 50 to 60 test cases, and all these group of test cases will be called as a test suite. Okay. And group of similar functionality test cases. Let's say for login functionality, I have written the test case for 5 scenarios, not test scenarios, for 5 different variations in the data. Like for the first time, I will test it with correct username, correct password. In the second go, I will test the requirement with wrong username and correct password. In the third, I will give correct username and wrong password. I will keep on doing like this. So I will test the same functionality with 5 different data, but entirely the functionality is same. So similar test cases or similar functionality test cases can be grouped together and called as a test suite, or just a bunch of test cases can also be referred as a test suite, right? Clear? Are we good with all the testing terminologies that we have discussed here?
Yes.
Any questions from your side?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why no one is getting any questions? Am I being very good at the teaching side, or you are not giving your 100% while listening, or am I going a bit fast? How can it be happening? Like without having any questions, how can a class go? Tell me. Just on a lighter note, nothing serious. Am I going a bit fast, or what's happening?